Allora, raga, nello scorso video ho fatto il ripassone per la maturità letteratura inglese sul The Victorian Age, Wuthering Heights e The Picture of Dorian Gray. E adesso faremo un ripassone 5 minuti su The War Poets, Modernism, Ernest Hemingway, Rupert Brooke e Wilfred Owen. So the modern age is the period in which people started experiencing war. And so they completely changed their view of life. They started seeing life as uncertain, and this sense of uncertainties started being super powerful. Okay? Especially because people lost their faith in the Victorian values and morals. So there's this new age, the modern age, that is characterized by people expressing and telling their experience that they had in war. Okay, so we got a lot of war poets, so writers, especially men's. Okay, they got to experience war, and they were soldiers. They enjoyed the army, and so they started telling their experience in war. At first, in the early phase of the war was considered to be honorable. So poets such as Rupert Brooke had a patriotic view of war. So they saw war as honorable, as respectable, and especially in his poem The Soldier, he expresses the idea of how honorable it is to be dying for your country. Okay, so he expressed that patriotic idea of war. But then when war got more and more over, okay, and it was never ending, people and poets, they got into another idea and view of war. Instead of that patriotic and seeing war as beautiful, they started seeing war as something brutal and something meaningless and something that was completely useless, okay? Especially because they experienced their experience in the trench warfare, and they were living in super bad conditions, and the use of modern weapons that was super dangerous, and the massive loss of people in the war. Okay, especially we saw the writer Wilfred Owen. That's one of the first writers who expresses his idea of anti-war and realistic view of war. And he, in his poem Futility, he asked such an important question. So he asked himself, why is life so easy to destroy? Okay, so life is super fragile. Okay, and what's the meaning of it? Because the fragility, the futility of life. Okay, life is super fragile. The thin layer between death and life in war is completely super easy to destroy. People die every day in war. Okay, so death is the main theme of the war poet. Okay, then another war poet, another important writer, American writer, is Ernest Hemingway. He was an ambulance driver, and he fought for the Italian army. And one of his most important work is The Farewell to Arms, where he tells the story of an ambulance driver, that's Frederick Henry, and his love story for a nurse, that's Catherine. But then Henry started experiencing war because he was a soldier and an ambulance driver, and he started describing war. The Ernest Hemingway language is super easy, simple, and he even uses the iceberg theory. The iceberg theory is a theory in which there are some really small words that express a simple and key meaning, but there's like a hidden meaning behind it, okay? So that's the iceberg theory. Telling something small, sure, with a small meaning, but then, there are some hidden concept behind it. So we talk about Ernest Hemingway, the Fairway's Arm, okay? Then once Friedrich Henry started completely changing his perspective of war, he saw war as brutal and destruction and everything, he escaped from war with Catherine, and they go to Switzerland. But then during the childbirth, Catherine dies. So they had a child, but Catherine dies, and so Henry remains completely alone. So there's a theme of how you can try to protect love, but you cannot protect yourself from your destiny. And we saw the chapter 9 of the Farewell to Arm. And let me see. Chapter 9 is we should get the war over. So Ernest Hemingway, in this chapter, in this extract, he describes how soldiers started understanding how bad war was, and the fact that they didn't want it to win. They completely lost their hope for winning, or their, the glorious of it. They just wanted to get the war over. And this specific extract behind the description of everything that's happening, the bomb explosion and the death of his friend, what's the technique used by Hemingway is the black and white theory. Okay, black and white theory, lightning effect. What's the lightning effect? Normally and usually in literature, light and white is considered to be good and to express something that's positive. Instead, black and the use of the black color and the dark atmosphere used to create a mysterious atmosphere, but even a bad atmosphere, like something bad that's happening. Hemingway completely changed those concepts, the idea of those concepts, okay? Because, especially during war, light and the bomb explosion and the light was considered something bad and a bad moment, because when there was a light, that means you could see everything that's happening besides you, okay? Around you. So you could see maybe a friend of yours, a soldier that's completely dead, and other soldier from the other army could probably see you, and so you're in danger. So light is considered something bad right now in this extract. Instead, darkness and a dark, the black color is considered something good, because when there's a dark atmosphere where you cannot see what's happening, then you're safe. It means you're hidden and no one can see you. So there's this different view of the black and the white color. Niente raga, spero di esservi stata utile. So che il mio inglese non è perfect, non è proprio per niente perfect, però that's what we gotta do.